Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. I'm really excited to dive into today's topic. We're going to be talking about why we overeat and how to self-sabotaging through food. And I thought this was the perfect time of year to talk about it because I personally struggle with overeating this time of year. All the parties, all the activities, all the food, holiday food, snacks, right? I mean, overeating is just something that I'm certainly faced with this time of year. I know my one-on-one clients, we work one-on-one, obviously. So I've been talking to them a lot about overeating, and it's something that my clients are already, very concerned about, have been concerned about for weeks now. And it's kind of the thick of it here. So I wanted to talk about it, but I think, in true Christy Castillo fashion, Unfuck Your Fitness fashion, we're going to dive into it. I'm not just going to give you the basics of why you overeat and self-sabotaging. I have done that before, of course. I love the basics, and the basics are still true. It's very factual. But today, I want to dive in a little bit deeper because 'tis the season, right? Everybody, like every fitness influencer, every fitness podcaster, every personal trainer, everyone on the internet right now in kind of my similar position is talking about food and overeating and how you should enjoy the holidays. But holidays are made to be enjoyed, and food is part of the holidays, and food is part of enjoyment. And that's all very, very true. But I don't want to just get on here and give you basic information just like everyone else. So I've kind of been leading up to this topic the last few weeks, and all of everything that I'm talking about really this time of year it's just, we're unfucking it. We're diving in. We're getting real because I like that. I don't like surface level, conversation most days, honestly. And I really don't like surface level coaching because it's not just about willpower. It's not just about don't eat the snacks. It's not about I'll just stop doing that on the weekends, or this year's going to be so different. If that worked, we would all not be overeating, right? So it's not about that at all. So we've been kind of leading up to this conversation. Last week, we talked a lot about slowing down, reflecting, and noticing the progress that you've actually made. That's very important. Like the progress that you've actually made throughout this year, even if you didn't give yourself credit for it until now, until I had you slow down and stop and really reflect and find proof of your progress. I think a lot of times this time of year, once we start overeating and we start backsliding a little bit on our goals, and we say we're not going to eat too much, we say we're going to keep tracking, we say we're going to keep working out. And when one of those things starts to slide, we start to think, I'm such a failure. I can't do this. The whole year is a waste. I knew this was going to happen. It happens every year, right? All this negative self-talk. And so I wanted you to slow down and think about all the things that you have done correctly, that you have worked on, that you have made progress on. And today we're going to take that same energy of self-awareness and we're going to apply it to something that I know so many women that I work with, and even know just friends of mine, struggle with. And I'm sure it's a pretty universal thing, man, woman struggle. Everybody struggles with this in the holidays. And, we all have goals of looking better, feeling better, eating right. I think that's a common thing. And so overeating and slipping into old patterns with food is a real thing. It's a real struggle right now. And because once you start paying attention to your habits, and once you get honest about what's going on underneath, and you begin to see that overeating isn't just a lack of discipline, it's actually stress, it's emotions, it's you're overworked, or it's your environment, you start to look at things differently, and you don't view it as so much of I haven't made any progress this year, and I, fuck up every year during the holidays. You start to take yourself out of that mindset, and you start to see it for what it is. And that is exactly what we're going to do in this episode. I want this episode to be about understanding why those patterns show up in the first place so you can really think about, in all your free time this time of year, so you can really think about why those patterns show up in the first place so that you can stop feeling guilty and that you can stop starting over every Monday and stop starting over every January, and you can start feeling so guilty and negative about yourself, and you can start making choices that feel intentional and empowered, and you feel confident making those choices, and they feel very aligned with the woman that you're becoming. That is the goal. If you understand why this cycle keeps happening and what overeating is, and yes, you're faced with it this time of year, but also why, just because you're faced with it this time of year and just because you give in a little bit doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean there's no black and white. There's no all or nothing. There's no good and bad. It just, it is what it is. But that feeling of overeating year after year, month after month, week after week, right? It happens. So with holiday overeating, I want to break down the real reasons that holiday overeating happens, because when I walk through these scenarios with my clients, it's always due to stress, emotion, environment. And I want to turn that into a more intentional, like I said, confident place and empowered choices instead of just having you repeat that over and over and over. Because if you're going to work with me, I know, a lot of clients hire me right now to work with them through the holidays. And it's not just about accountability. It's not just about them tracking their macros and reporting it to me, because then they would just track something that they didn't eat. They would lie to me, and that's not where the magic is, right? You still have all the underneath things about why is this still happening? Just because you hire someone to hold you accountable, I can't go to the parties with you and smack the food out of your hand. I can't do it for you. And so we really have to get to the bottom of it. So yes, this holiday season is when I choose to talk about this, because the holidays do come with more food. It comes with more emotions. It comes with more stimulation. It comes with more expectations. And like I said, overeating isn't a lack of willpower. It's usually a sign that something else is going on. Any one of those things. You're feeling overwhelmed and overworked. You're feeling maybe super hungry because you don't eat during the day because you're overwhelmed and overworked. Or you're overstimulated and maybe you don't have time to shop right. Maybe you're just expected to do certain things and you have maybe like your schedule is tighter. There can be so many things going on that are leading you to the overeating. But what you focus on is just, I can't stop overeating. I can't say no to the food in front of me. But this episode is going to help you understand why you're doing what you're doing so that you can change it. So let's dive in here. The 3 core reasons why we overeat. So 1, it's a stress response or decision fatigue. So the holidays come with more decisions and more social plans and more planning for others. There's different things going on. As a mom, I know that it comes with a lot of cooking and baking and hosting and shopping and events. And, you're buying gifts for teachers and grandparents and friends. And, it's a lot, right? And they have to take snacks to school. And then you have all the parties that I've talked about in different episodes. But there is a lot going on, plus the everyday tasks that you have to do, right? So that can be stressful. And when you are stressed, that increases your cravings, especially for high reward foods. We don't usually crave chicken breast and protein. We're craving cookies and pumpkin pie. I actually had some of that today, so that's why it popped in my head. But when your brain is overwhelmed, it seeks relief, and food becomes the fastest relief. It's usually right in front of you too during the holidays, right? So when someone is bringing a dish to pass to work, or they're leaving things in the break room, it's donuts, it's cookies, right? It's not chicken, it's not broccoli, it's not protein shakes. And if you're having decision fatigue and you're like, oh, I brought this really healthy lunch with me, but now there's pizza and donuts and I'm really stressed and I'm tired and I'm overworked and my body is really, overstimulated and I really just want to grab this and eat it and it's going to make me feel really good for a few minutes, that's usually what you're going to go to. You might even think something like, I've been so good this week, I deserve this, it's Friday, like, oh, I just really want to have this pizza and donuts. It's sitting right here. Yes, I packed my food, but I'm just like, I've had a really stressful week. That's exactly what it is. It's a stress response. It's your body saying, this is right here. I'm seeking the reward of what that's going to feel like. I'm even validating it by saying, I've had a really long week. I'm really stressed out. This is such a crazy time of year. And so that stress response and that decision fatigue of not having a plan, sticking to it, because again, I can hold you accountable, but I'm not there in that break room with you saying, girl or dude, we need to pick the healthy food that you brought, right? In that moment, you're thinking, I don't even care about anything else. I'm stressed. I'm hungry. Give me the shit, right? I'll eat whatever's in front of my face. So that's one way, I guess, that it happens. The second reason that we overeat is because we are, especially during the holidays, we are reframing the emotional eating. So we're not necessarily, we just talked about being stressed, right? We're not necessarily coming at it from a place of something's wrong in my life and I need to cope by eating more. But it is still emotional eating. We do attach food to feelings of comfort foods during the holidays, or we're celebrating something, or it's nostalgic. And a lot of times during the holidays, there's certain desserts that we always have as a family, and there's certain desserts that my clients always have as a family. So it is about the feeling of, oh my gosh, like I used to be an eggnog girly. I always had eggnog at the holidays and I do like it. It's very, very sweet and kind of weird. And it's not my favorite thing now that I'm older, but it's still a nostalgic thing. Like I will still buy it and drink some of it just because that's what I always had growing up. So we reframe that emotional eating during the holidays without even thinking about it. Like, of course, when I'm saying that out loud, like, yeah, it's nostalgic. And yes, that's why I drink it. But in years past, if I don't stop and think about that to myself, I'm just grabbing it, drinking it, and that is what it is. But when we think about, yeah, I am attaching this feeling of eating this food to the comfort, to the celebrations, it's normal, but it becomes a problem when it becomes our coping tool or something. So it's not that you're even hungry necessarily. It's that you're overwhelmed and you're tired, or you're lonely, or you're overstimulated, or you're anxious, like all those other feelings. So you could be, attaching that emotional eating to the comfort, to the celebration. You could be, like we already discussed, overwhelmed, overstimulated, stressed out. So there's two different ways of thinking of it being in an emotional eating kind of a sense. And then the third reason that we overeat is your environment and availability. Kind of like I talked about in the break room situation, what's available was pizza and donuts. Your environment is everybody else in the break room is sitting there being like, oh, it's the holidays. Your diet can wait, right? It's constant food. There's potlucks and parties and break rooms and kitchen counters and cookie trays and all the things, right? And so your environment and what's available to you, your environment is influencing your choices more than your motivation is, more than the accountability is, more than what you said you were going to do. If your environment is saying, come on and eat these pizza and donuts, and your brain is saying, but I brought my food, all I have to do is like warm it up, and then I got to do a couple things, screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and have what everybody else is having. So it's that mindless eating that really ramps up this time of year because food is simply everywhere. So if you can, instead of just grabbing, instead of just not thinking, if you can just build some structure, if you can set some meal times, and yes, this takes a little planning, but if you can set some meal times and say, okay, in the morning, I'm going to have, for me, it's like I'm going to have my overnight oats first thing in the morning with some rice cakes. And then later I'm going to have a protein shake and a salad. And then maybe in the evening, I'm going to have like whatever we have for dinner. But I'm not going to have whatever's in the break room. Even if I walk in there and I want it, I'm not going to have it. So setting your meal times, making a plate instead of grazing all day, take a plate of something else that's in the break room, or grab your food and go back to your desk, or back to your seat or whatever, get away from the food. And then you can add protein first. That's always something that I do, as well as add protein first. So I'm having my oats overnight, my overnight oats. They're overnight oats, but I get the brand. I don't make them myself. So oats overnight. I'm prioritizing protein first thing in the day. With lunch, I'm having my protein shake, and then I'm having whatever, like my salad or my little tuna dish that I've been having right now religiously, which is just 2 packs of the packaged tuna with salsa, and hummus. And I've been eating it with a jalapeno cheddar. I think they are rice cakes. So freaking good. So that's my meal time. And that's what I'm having at those meals, whether I really want it or not. That's what I'm having. And we do have cheesecake in the fridge right now. And we do have pumpkin pie. And I let myself have that today. But I'm recording this on a Sunday and I wanted a little treat. And I planned for it. And I had protein first and I'll have protein later. So if you're planning it and you're making your plate and getting it out of the way, right? Put tempting food out of sight or replace it with fruit protein options, like I said. And also just slow down too. I think a lot of it is just that we are rushing to the refrigerator. We're rushing to the break room. We're rushing. Make sure that you have foods on hand to eat so you're not starving all the time as well. Because if you're not super, super hungry, then those emotional choices, whether it be happy or whether it be stressed, you won't feel so much like you have to eat your way out of it. You'll feel more balanced if you have a plan and if you're not starving. A lot of times this doesn't happen because people don't take the time to slow down and think, and they also just eat what's in front of them, right? After that, you think, well, screw it. And this is the next kind of little chunk of information I want to talk about. The screw it mentality of just like, well, I already ate X, Y, and Z today. So I already messed up. So I might as well keep going and screw up the rest of the day. Or you label food as good and bad. And then you eat some quote unquote bad foods. And then you feel guilty. And then you're like, well, I messed up. So you might as well eat some more. So it's guilt. It's thinking you messed up. It's thinking foods are good and bad. If you believe that lie that you'll start again on Monday, right? It's Friday. You're in the break room, that whole scene, and you messed up. You totally fucked up. You said you were going to eat your salad. Now I got to tell my coach that I didn't eat my salad, or I can lie to her, whichever one, right? But the scale's going to move. So she's going to know I didn't really follow along with what I said I was going to do, but I'll start again on Monday. And you keep saying that and you keep saying that. That's another cycle that kind of gets you stuck. Whereas if you're like, I won't have to start again Monday if I just eat what I said I was going to eat today, or not eat what I didn't say I was going to do today, right? That all or nothing mentality leads to nothing getting done, honestly, because you are so paralyzed by, is this food good or bad? I already messed up, so I might as well say fuck it for the rest of the day or the rest of the week. All of those things are why that screw it mode happens. And if you know that ahead of time, and if you start thinking about having a neutral language around food, like this isn't bad food. It's okay. Even if you did go into the break room and you had a donut and you had a piece of pizza, and then you thought, oh my God, I didn't want to do that. My stomach hurts. I kind of feel like shit. And I messed up. But I'm going to go back to my desk. I'm going to chug a protein shake really quick. And in an hour, because that pizza and donut is going to be gone soon, it's not going to hold me over very long. In an hour, I'm going to sit down and eat the salad that I told myself I would eat. I'm just going to turn this around. It's no all or nothing. It's no good and bad. I didn't mess anything up. Yeah, I ate too many carbs. I ate more carbs today than I said I was going to, but that doesn't mean that I have to ruin the rest of the day. So after you do something, because you will mess this up and you will do something that you said you weren't going to do, pause and ask, when you catch yourself saying, oh my God, I did it again. I messed up again. I can't do this. Don't do that. Stop right there and say, okay, Christy told me, what's my next best choice? It's not the end of the world, but I don't need to turn this into a downward spiral. I can just make the next best choice. Like I said, eat the salad that you have the protein shake, turn it around as soon as you can. So not like, oh no, how can I undo this? Or never mind, I suck at this. I might as well keep going in this negative way. Think, how do I want to feel later? What can I do right now that would turn this around for me? And that screw it mode won't happen. Next, I want to talk about how to make intentional choices without restricting those choices. And these are going to be a little bit about what we've already talked about, which is eating enough during the day. If you go into that break room or you get home from dinner and your kids have made all kinds of snacks and they brought them over and the neighbor brought cookies and you are savagely hungry, as I call it, which I am, but actually I'm not very savagely hungry because I eat quite a bit. I eat during the day, but I remember those days when I would get home from work and like have my, prepackaged food that I prepped and I didn't want it because I was so freaking hungry. I just wanted pizza and donuts probably. But if you eat enough during the day, you won't be starving, and therefore you won't just be snacking on things and grazing on things. This is a common thing for my clients where I'm like, okay, in between lunch and when you get home, you have to eat something on the way home, whether it's some rice cakes, whether it's a yogurt you can eat on your drive home, whether it's a protein shake, whether it's a couple pretzels, whatever, just to get something in your stomach. So you can make more intentional choices if you're not starving. 2 is something that I like to call the holiday plate formula. I use this for myself when I'm going out and about to events and parties and family get-togethers. Half of your plate is protein and a veggie, and then a quarter of your plate is carbs, and another quarter of your plate is treat or extra. For me, I can eat a little bit more usually, so I'm probably going to go back and grab another treat, but that's a pretty good general rule because it gives you freedom and structure. You have your protein and you have your veggie, and that takes up most of your plate. And then you have your carb, and then you have your treat. So what this is going to look like for me, like for Thanksgiving, for example, what it always looks like is some turkey, and then we have green bean casserole. I know it's not like a strict veggie, but hey, it is what it is, right? And then my carb is going to look like mashed potatoes, and then my treat or extra is going to look like sweet potato casserole. And then I'm going to probably grab a roll as well because I want to. And that's what I've allowed myself because I've eaten enough during the day and I prioritize my protein in the morning that I'm able to do that. But I like the holiday plate formula because it allows you to have a treat. It allows you to plan ahead. You know, going into that party that this is what your plate is going to be full of. And make sure you get enough protein and veggies so that you are pretty full. Next, to choose your treats on purpose. Not grazing on everything, but which holiday foods are actually worth it for me. I had a lot of conversations with my clients this holiday season about what foods does someone make and is going to bring to this party that you actually want. I had one client say, I'm not going to eat the Oreos. She said, no offense, Christy, but I want to have the pumpkin pie. I want the pumpkin roll. I want the sweet potato casserole personally. So what is actually worth it? You don't have to have a little bit of everything. What actually tastes good? And if you bite into some cake and you're like, oh, I don't like Aunt Susie's cake. This is not good this year. Don't eat it. Don't finish it. Go get something else. Make it worth it. Don't just graze on snacks and treats all day. The 4th thing you can do is slow the fuck down. Put the fork down and take a break halfway through eating so that you can digest your food. You'll start to realize you're actually getting fuller instead of just cramming food in your mouth, and check in with how you feel. Okay. So let's go over these really quickly. And then I have another one. Number 1, eat enough during the day. Number 2, use the holiday plate formula. Number 3, choose your treats on purpose. Number 4, slow the fuck down. And number 5, leave room to enjoy your life. You can enjoy food and you can stay intentional. And you can choose flexibility without self-sabotaging. You have room to enjoy your life, and you'll enjoy it a lot more if you plan ahead. And if you eat a little bit during the day, so you're not feeling so starving. And you'll enjoy it a lot more too if you don't have that guilty conscience, if you don't feel like, God, I really suck at this, right? If you're like, man, I really stuck to my goals today. I had a great time. I'm feeling really good this holiday season. I still like what I see when I look in the mirror. I'm proud of myself for making good choices. There's a lot to say for that. And I think that's very, very important. And I don't want to minimize that mindset that goes along with this as well. So lastly, I just want to talk about some holiday mindset shifts. Instead of, I'll start Monday, you can say, I can make a good choice right now. No matter what's happened the rest of the day, you can change your mindset right then. Instead of, I blew it, you can say, nothing is ruined. Carbs are carbs, they're energy. Maybe I ate a little more than I planned on today, but nothing is ruined. It's not the end of the world. Instead of saying, I shouldn't eat this because it's bad or it's sugar or it's not on your food list or it was off limits in the past, you can say, I'm choosing this intentionally. This is a food that Aunt Susie made that's actually good, and this is really worth it for me. And I don't have this again until next year, until next Thanksgiving, until next Christmas. So I'm intentionally choosing to have this, and I'll deal with the consequences after, right? And then the last thing you can switch your mindset from, I'll never stick to this, is you can think and say, I'm learning new patterns, and that takes some time. So even if you go into an event and you say, I'm not going to, if I were to go into Thanksgiving and say, I'm not going to have any sweet potato casserole, that would be setting myself up for failure because I would 100% have it. Okay. But if I really didn't want to have it, like if I was allergic to it, or if I had to like write a food allergy or something and I couldn't have it, I'm like, oh, I'll never stick to this. Like I can never go into this party and not eat sweet potato casserole, even if it makes me break out or something. I can say like, I may mess up. I'm learning new patterns and that takes some time. So it doesn't have to be so strict. It doesn't have to be, I'll start over on Monday. I totally blew it. I shouldn't eat this. This is bad. And I'll never stick to this. I can't do well through the holidays, right? Don't say those things. Don't say those very, very limited things. Make your mind open a little bit to the possibility of actually exploring and enjoying the holidays with a little bit of food and not having it be the end of the world. So remember, you're not broken. You're not weak. It's not a matter of willpower. You're not bad at food. You just need that awareness and the structure and the support and really, really dive in. I mean, this episode, I gave you a lot of tools to shift out of that autopilot eating of just like, this is what I do and this is who I am. And I mess up every year and I can't say no to the pumpkin roll or the sweet potato casserole. If you can't say no to the sweet potato casserole, just plan to have it. That's eventually what I started doing. I'm like, well, I'm going to have it. So I guess I can just fill the rest of my day, the beginning of my day, with healthy whole foods that are okay and that I can have protein and that can really help me to still hit my macros. And then, yeah, I'll have the sweet potato casserole. I'll go over in my carbs and sugars for the day, but who cares? I want to enjoy the day. And it's one day. And that's something that I won't have again until next Thanksgiving. We only have that on Thanksgiving. So to say that I won't have it is crazy. I still want to enjoy that food. I want that to be part of my Thanksgiving. And in order to do that, I had to fix my relationship with that food and with that choice. And that's exactly what you are going to have to do. So the things that we talked about, the core reasons being the stress response, the decision fatigue, the emotional eating, not always in a bad way, the emotions of nostalgia and comfort and warmth and celebration and whatever that feeling that sweet potato casserole gives me, it's a great feeling, right? It's a good emotional eating, but it is still emotional and I can remove that emotion if I want. It's just food. Or I can learn to have it. And then your environment and the availability of foods, that makes a big difference. So if you know that ahead of time and you say, when I go to this party, this environment is going to set me up to have these foods. This is what's going to be there. I can eat something before I go that will help me to hit my goals, or I can have what's there. You have to stop and think about it though. It influences your decisions. And truly, if you want to get through the holidays without so much overeating and without the self-sabotaging, this is what you're going to have to do. You can't just wish yourself through it. You can't just say, well, I'm going to show up and I'm accountable to Christy and she's coaching me now. And this is what I'm going to do. You have to have the tools. You have to have the awareness and you have to have that intentional thinking and acting to be able to follow through on what you say you're going to do. So I hope this was really, really helpful. I truly, truly do. I know that it can help you to be able to move through these last few weeks of the year feeling so much better about yourself. Let me, though, be honest with you and say you're probably not going to go from a year last year let's say last year you were just totally lost and you totally overate and you gained, the typical, I think it's like 5 to 7 pounds that people gain during the holidays. You're not going to go from that last year to being 100% perfect physically and emotionally and mentally through the holidays. You're not going to navigate this with perfection this year just because of this podcast episode and just because of some mindset shifts. You're going to mess up. I do. We all do. The difference is that after I have today, like pumpkin pie, I was like, I didn't plan on having the pumpkin pie. I planned on having just lunch, like a regular lunch, salad. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to have some chicken. And then instead of having the carbs from like the croutons and the dressing that I was going to have with the salad, and lettuce isn't really that nutritional, let's be real. So I was like, I'm just going to have chicken breast with a little bit of like oil and stuff on it for some fats, add some avocado. And then after that, I'm going to have this pumpkin pie because I forgot it was in the fridge. Well, afterwards, I felt fine. I didn't feel sick and I didn't regret having it, but I was instantly bloated. And I thought, yeah, that is exactly why I shouldn't have probably had that. But I didn't feel bad. I didn't second guess myself. I just thought, well, now I'm bloated because my stomach couldn't digest something that was in it. And now I know. So if I'm going to have it again, I know that's the consequence. So if you really just stop and think like I did, think that through. And then the next time I have the option to eat it or not, now I know exactly how I'm going to feel after. And you can still make the choice and you can still be okay with it like I was, even though I'm like, well, I probably shouldn't have had that. I probably should have had the salad. Honestly, I probably would have been bloated after the salad though, because that's just how my stomach has been lately. But I digress. I hope this was really, really helpful. So just stop, pause, reflect, be intentional. You got this. And I will talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. So much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.